Hello and welcome to a special episode on the Stress Knits YouTube channel. This is brought to you by my lovely patrons over on Patreon who support this channel financially. If you're interested in becoming one, the links are down below. They've seen this video first and also have access to exclusive content made just for them. So today is part 2 of my Advent colorway explanation video. And I'm going to be walking you through days 13 through 25. I actually need to grab day 25 before I forget. Okay. Because I totally forgot. So I'm just going to go through days 13 through 25 and explain to you the story behind them, the inspiration, the colors I used, and all that. So let's just get started. Day 13, this is for Stress Knits Advent 2020, in case you're curious. Okay, so day 13 is called Alone Time, and it's this gray with speckles of green, and there are some blips of pink and yellow and blue that pop out. So this reminded me of our living room and my office. So our living room is a beautiful gray and my office is white with a chalkboard wall. And I have plants everywhere because I love houseplants. I really came to love them in January of 2020. And so, yeah, I just have plants everywhere. So it really reminded me of the calm, neutral background of our home with the pops of the plants. And I am an introvert and I love getting time alone. It's very rare these days since all of us are home all the time. We have a toddler and yeah, it's very hard to find alone time. But when I do, this is just the kind of vibe that I have, just neutral with some greenery, if that makes sense. Day 14 is called Fairy Lights. So this colorway reminded me of the kind of the overarching theme of this advent calendar, which was glow, which is, or cozy, you know, just the ambient light of holiday lights, like that kind of just cozy feeling. So this color specifically reminded me of fairy lights, the warm color fairy lights that kind of give off that purpley color, and then you just have the warm, like golden light kind of coming in. So that's what I was trying to go for with this. It didn't come out exactly as I wanted, but I still really love it. It's fairy lights. The next colorway makes me laugh. So I have a colorway called Pillow Mint. You can see it right here. And it's just a mint. It's a bluish mint green. A bluish mint. And I really wanted a green mint. But when I did it, there's really not a whole lot of difference between Pillow Mint and mint. I really love it. But when I put them side by side, the change isn't obvious enough. Because I do have multiple colorways that kind of look similar, but there's always something, you can notice something different about them, and that's just not the case with this unless you're looking really, really hard. So I feel like it'd be really difficult for someone to purchase some Pillow Mint and then purchase mint and get it and going, this is the same color. So this won't be headed into the shop, and I am on the hunt for a green mint. But this might be it. I just might have to tweak it. I really love it. The next colorway, day 13, 14, 15, 16, is one that I think it's like top 3 of my favorites in this advent calendar. And I think it's one of the most proud, like I'm the most proud of this colorway in this advent calendar. So I'm gonna show you the inspiration first. I like all of us, have been obsessed with Torazo this year. I've loved it for a really long time, but nothing really came in it. But I have this planter that's made of Torazo, and it sits above my desk on the shelf with a Hoya. That's a little sad. This side's happy, but this is a Hoya Crimson Queen. Anyway, but this is Torazo, and this is the specific Torazo that inspired this colorway, because there are a bunch of different kinds. So there's some that are more neutral, some that are more pink, some that are warmer, some that are cooler. And this exact pot is what inspired my Torazo colorway. So you have the pink mauve bits, the lavenders, the chartreuse greens, and the cool bluey grays. So let me put this back up. Okay. I am just so happy with how this came out. It looks exactly like I wanted it to. Through the roof excited about it, and I hope you love it as much as I do. Day 17 is called Cold Brew. I'm team cold brew year round. I know a few of you are as well. And I have been asked for a brown for a really long time. And brown just isn't my jam. When it comes to neutrals, I like grays, blacks, and whites. But I decided to play around with something and see if I could get it to look like I wanted it to, and I did. So this is as close to brown as you're gonna get from me. It's just this deep, warm brown that is also kind of like it has a pink undertone to it, because of course it does, and I have some cold brew next to me. But this was kind of the inspiration, right? Like this little, I don't know. I love it. I'm really happy with how it came out. I'm knitting a sweater in it right now. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. So that's cold brew, day 17. Day 18 was an accident. It didn't come out the way I wanted it to, so I just threw a bunch of speckles from new colors of dye that I had, and I just fell in love with it. And it reminded me of my collection of bottle brush trees. So, hence bottle brush tree. And I love it. This will be a holiday staple for years to come. It's just so happy. All of the skeins look a little different, which I really like when it's something this crazy. I don't know. I'm really, really happy with bottle brush tree. Yes, big fan. Day 19 also didn't come out the exact way that I wanted it to, but I love it, and I'm going to be tweaking it and bringing it to the shop. So I wanted, I just kind of wanted a tonal gray, not a tonal gray, a splotchy gray. I don't like the word variegated very much. I don't know. When I associate variegated, I associate it with like the giant swaths of splashing, and that's just really not my jam. So I came up with this, and it is called Grayscale. So it's just a bunch of different tones of cool grays with a dark gray speckle. And I want it to lean a little less blue when I bring it to the shop, so I'm gonna have to tweak a few things, but I'm still really happy with how it came out. And I think it would make a really fun pair of socks and maybe even a hat. I don't know. I think it's super fun. The next colorway, day 20, is definitely the most Christmassy of all of them. But I had this idea in my brain. Sorry, my eye is itchy. Our weather, this is such a tangent, but I'm in Metro Detroit, Michigan. And our weather, it was 55 degrees yesterday, but it rained all day. And today it's like 30 degrees. And my allergies are so mad about it. I'm just like, my eyes are so itchy. and my throat is really dry, and my nose is just like, you can feel the sinus pressure. Anyway, it always happens when our temperatures yo-yo like that, and it drives me nuts because my eyes, I feel like I could claw them out. They're so itchy. Okay. Anyway, but I had this idea in my head for kind of a funky, classic Christmas colorway, because I do love a classic green and red. But I feel like, I don't know, I couldn't get that right. So I decided to do more of like a magenta and green kind of vibe. And it reminded me of the Bob's Burgers episode titled Knitcracker, where Linda has this fever dream of knitting scarves for her children, and giant nutcrackers come out that are knitting, which she calls knitcrackers. And it's such a fun episode. And I love Bob's Burgers. It's great. Anyway, this is what I came up with. This will also be a holiday staple in Stress Knits land. And I just love it. The speckles are just so fun. I don't know. I really, really love it. Day 21 is always a special one. If you've been following me for a while, you will know the winter solstice is my favorite day of the year. I really romanticize it for some reason. So winter's my favorite season. Snow is my favorite weather. And I love it. So the start of winter is just so exciting for me. It's also the shortest day of the year. And I'm weird, and I really like that it gets dark early, at least for, the first half of winter, like fall winter, when you're doing a bunch of stuff and you look at the clock and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. And they're like, it's only 7 o'clock. I love that feeling, because then you have so much more you can do, or you can just relax before you go to bed, or you can sleep longer. Like, it's just, I love it. I really do. Until about the end of February, when I really just want it to be bright. But the winter solstice is really special. My husband and I always have a special date, which will look different this year. You're seeing this after, but we usually go downtown and we walk around and get coffee and we get good food, and it's such a special night for us. So I wanted something that kind of reminded me of that, since we're not going to have it this year. We're going to do it at home. We're going to get takeout from a local Detroit restaurant and have a nice night in, just the two of us. But once Eliza goes to sleep. But I wanted something that reminded me of just the really nice romantic date night that we have every year. So Doug and I, we don't get to hold hands as much as we used to anymore. We don't get to link arms as much as we used to, because we have a toddler and we're trying to wrangle her because she doesn't want to be in a stroller. So we don't really have that anymore, at least for right now. So I wanted something called Arm in Arm to remind me of that. And so it's just this very sweet light pink, which it's just a very romantic color to me. And then there are speckles of brown, and they break up, and there's also like speckles of pink and yellow. So the brown reminds me of the coffee we always get while we walk around the city, and the random bits of broken dye, which create these beautiful colors, also remind me of the city lit up for Christmas, because we love our city. So I don't know, this is just a very special colorway. It will be coming back for Valentine's Day. Yes, really, really love it. Another colorway that will be making its way on Valentine's Day is called Meet Cute, and I don't know, I really love it. It's just another very sweet colorway. And essentially, my thought behind this was I put together some sock kits after Advent last year, and one of the colorways that I kitted up was Dusk, and I kitted it up with Button Up, which was Betty at the time. and I loved dusk with the light blue. And I was like, I need to put those together. So I did, and then I added some speckles. I don't know if you can see, I don't know if my skein has a lot of speckles, but you know, there are some speckles, my mauvey speckles that I love so much. Yeah, so that is Meet Cute. And I named it that because I was thinking about one of my favorite Christmas movies, The Holiday, and how Arthur is telling Iris about their meet cute. So that's just what it reminded me of, and here we are. Day 23. I was slightly disappointed by. I think it was the last colorway I dyed. But it looks a lot like day 12, which is Freshen Up. So this is called Abstract, and there are different colors in here, believe it or not, but it came out looking the same, and I prefer Freshen Up over Abstract, so I'll probably keep Freshen Up. But it was based on this photo of painted leaves. I don't fully understand what it was, but it was called Abstract, and I just went with it. So these are the colors. There's purples and pinks and sage greens and mint greens and some blues, and I love it. I think it's beautiful. It looks too much like Freshen Up, and I love Freshen Up very much. That is day 23, Abstract. Day 24 is called Dusty Plum. So it is the big sister to Dried Lavender, and it is just a warm, dusty purple, and I love it very much. So this will also be making its way into the shop. It's just a nice tonal, and like I said at the first half, I really wanted to anchor this blanket with tonals. So there are 5 tonals, and I kind of sparsed them out, but I really wanted to have anchors of 2 similarly saturated colors at the end, just in case you're doing something like a habitation throw, where that just makes sense. So these are the second half minis. And then day 25 is called Christmas Wrapping, based on the song by the Waitresses, and it is one of my favorite Christmas songs. Eliza and I dance to it almost every day, and I love it. So I used the new pink, which is Glow, and I used some eucalyptus, and I used a more saturated version of Pillow Mint to make this color. And I love it. And this calendar came with a sock pattern called Lights on Main, and I had an amazing sample knitter knit it up for me because I just didn't have the brain space to do it. Excuse me. And so this is what it looks like knit up in our pattern. So this pattern will be available in January for everybody. I believe this is by Huga Cannon, Kim, who is a dear friend, and I love her very much, and she's just such a talented designer. And I asked her for something mindless, and she delivered. So there's this beautiful like pearl ridge detail or some kind of detail, and then just this beautiful slip stitch pattern that looks like lights off of a building, and I really, really love it. Ugh, I love her sock patterns. I love everything she designs, but her sock patterns in particular are just stunning. So yes, Lights on Main. I think I have that right. If I don't, it'll be linked below. Yes. Yeah, and it's just beautiful heel flap, and I really love how this complemented this colorway, because this is how it looks in stockinette, which is beautiful, but this just really brings it out. So that's day 25, Christmas wrapping, and that's a wrap for Stress Knits Advent 2020. I'm hoping to bring you a calendar in 2021, and follow me on Instagram if you want the know in that because I will be announcing it there. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who purchased an advent calendar this year. You're amazing, and I will see you next time. Bye.